So last Friday, my friends and I decided to have a classic game night because, as adults, we desperately crave the nostalgia of simpler times, back when our biggest problem was whether to trade our Lunchables dessert for someone else's juice box. We dusted off Monopoly, a game that, in theory, teaches you about finance, but in practice just ends with everyone hating each other and someone flipping the board. The only catch, none of us could actually remember the rules, and the instruction booklet was missing, possibly burned in a prior fit of rage. But how hard could it be? You buy stuff, you get money, you win. Simple. Spoiler, it was not simple. By the third round, my friend Jess decided that if she landed on a property, she could open a bank and start lending money to the rest of us at 50% interest. Meanwhile, Dan was auctioning off his utilities to the highest bidder, even though he didn't actually own them. At one point, I think someone started paying rent and snacks and IOUs written on napkins, which, for the record, are apparently not redeemable for actual cash, no matter how many times you sign them with a flourish. Halfway through, Jess's bank started issuing stimulus checks to herself to kickstart the economy, and Dan tried to unionize the properties on the orange side of the board. By midnight, things had spiraled. The game devolved into a free market fever dream. There were mergers, hostile takeovers, and a brief but passionate debate about whether Park Place should become a luxury Airbnb. Someone set up a GoFundMe for Marvin Gardens, which was apparently being gentrified. I tried to buy my way out of jail with Monopoly money, but the newly formed central bank insisted I had to work off my debt by making everyone grilled cheese sandwiches. The only thing we all agreed on was that the thimble was the most trustworthy game piece, and therefore should be in charge of all financial regulations. By the end, we'd somehow invented late-stage capitalism, except none of us had any money, someone had mortgaged their dignity, and the grilled cheese union was threatening to strike. Turns out, we didn't need the rules after all. Monopoly is just a life simulator. And just like in real life, the only thing we managed to pass around more than money was crippling debt, so I guess you could say we made a monopoly, but the only thing we monopolized was being broke.